Do you guide meetings, facilitate workshops, or lead collaborative teams? If so, great questions are the number one resource that can take your gatherings from good to really exceptional. And in this video, I'm going to share with you three resources I've found for really interesting and generative questions. Those kinds of questions that really get people stopping and thinking and connecting more deeply with one another and more committed to action. And stick around for this video because in it I have a great resource for you, an amazing workbook that I reference all the time. It's a facilitator playbook that you're going to want to get your hands on, and I'll talk with you about how you can get that here in this video. Well, real quick, my name is Josh Friberg. If we haven't met, I am a certified Xchange guide. And what that means is that I help organizations and companies to design and execute gatherings and meetings that move the learning from passive to active, that invite input and voices from both subject matter experts and the gathered participants, and that call people beyond just being an individual to being part of a community. If you want to learn more about how to up-level your meetings or how really facilitation is going to be the future of how we gather, I'd love for you to like this video and subscribe to this channel. I think you're going to find a lot of valuable insight and resources about how we can do a better job when we bring people together. Well, let's jump right into it and talk about some places where I have discovered some absolutely amazing questions. And the first one is the Changes card deck from Michael Dietrich Chastain. I absolutely love this tool. I use it all the time. And in fact, one of the things that I love about it not only is that there are just amazing questions inside of it, but the form factor of this is really cool. So it comes in a little box like this, and then the questions are on cards, these kind of round disc-shaped cards. They're a little fun, a little different than what people are used to, and they cover lots of different cool categories from cognition to heart, nourishment, guts. This is a really exceptional series of questions, environment, spirit. And one of the things that we've been able to do is use these questions with groups where we give the groups player's choice on the questions. We'll put them out on a table at a meal and say, hey, why don't you go around the table, everybody read a question and maybe pick one as a group to go over. We've randomized it that way. It's a really fun way to get at different questions. Or if there's particular topics or energy we want to create in a room, I know right where to go simply by looking at the backs of the cards for the category that they're in. Tells me what kind of energy I might be able to create with the question. Well, as you could see, a couple really good ones that I picked out of here is where were you last when you felt most supported to achieve your goals? And this is specifically about noticing your environment and how it can help you achieve your goals. Well, where would this be a useful question? This might be if we're with a working group that's committed to deep action, to new action, bold action that they're going to take. And yet we haven't really addressed the idea that our environment may be helping our goals or hindering our goals. So I think Mike did a great job of creating a really insightful question about environment there. I'll give you a couple others real quick. What usually helps you feel wonderfully rested? This is a great question when you are tired or at the end of your rope, is to notice what would actually be restful for you. And here's another one. What habit brings you confidence? So when we're lacking confidence or needing to create a new habit, this can be a great question to ask as well. So my first resource, highly recommended, is the Changes cards deck. Check this out. You can get these on Amazon, or you can go to ARC Integrated and order a couple of these, because you're going to use them and then people will forget and take those home with them. The second place that I love to go for great questions, it actually comes from the Xchange community, from the Xchange approach. And one of the resources that we provide, and I can get you this, just, go ahead and write playbook in the comments to this video, and I will send you a copy of the Transformational Facilitation Playbook. But let's take a quick look at that while we're here. So this playbook, like I mentioned, is 37 pages long. It's a playbook for unlocking collective wisdom at speed and scale. Now, there's a lot of information in here about the opportunity, the superpower of our generation, kind of how we're thinking about gathering of meetings, how we're thinking about unlocking group genius. There's a lot of conversation right now about artificial intelligence. There's a little bit of conversation about real intelligence, but what's been missed is the importance of collective intelligence. And then where I want to take you, just to shortcut this real quick, is to this place here where this is giving us an exercise in the Xchange playbook, and it asks us to choose a question. And what I love is they've broken down the question into several categories, from purpose question, and included questions like, why does this work or project matter? One of the things we often do when we're guiding an experience is we jump straight into the nuts and bolts, the logistics of what it is that we're doing. Recently, a friend of mine was on a call where they were going to be taking people through, honestly, some pretty dry material about how to input data onto their app and their platform and the way that they wanted that done. And of course, they jumped straight into that. But what they didn't do was pause and ask people why it might be important to input this data and information, which it is. But it lacked that motivation, that energy that might cause people to lean in. This is where a great purpose question can help. And so I love going to this Xchange facilitator playbook to be able to find great purpose questions like that. Continuing on, other questions that often can really help a group is a high point question. When we're asking, and let's zoom in on this a little bit here. There we go. When we're asking, share a story, a real example of a time when you thrived. What did you or the organization contribute to this moment? Right? As we're coming together as a group, maybe we're inviting a work group to take on an even bigger challenge than they have been. And they may be already feeling like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm buried. A high point question can invite people to say, hey, that's right. We did it before. We can do it again. This is when we've been at our best, and it means that even better is available to us in the future. All right, let's talk about the next category of questions in our facilitator playbook. And again, if you want to get your hands on this playbook, just drop into the comments below and type playbook, and I'll make sure to reach out to you and get you this playbook. The next is a continuity question, and a continuity question might look something like, no matter how we change or evolve, what qualities do we want to honor, preserve, and protect, no matter where we go in the future? This invites an organization to say, hey, yes, we're going to be making some changes, and there's things that should never change. There's things that should be done in pencil, on paper, and there's things that should be carved in stone. We recently used a question like this in a church that I was involved with, and it was really fun. We put a picture up from a church, a really historic church back east in Pennsylvania, and on the front of the church, carved in stone, were the Sunday worship times, the gathering times, and it was 10:30 on Sunday. And we thought, is the time of the meetings something that should be carved in stone? And of course, they don't meet at that time anymore, right? In fact, they have like 3 services at that church, and they meet at many different times. And so we want to notice, what are the things that must be protected, and what are the things that are okay to have change? This is a great use of a continuity question. And it's such a generative question that allows people to bring up what's important to them, what matches their values. Continuing on with this Xchange Facilitator Playbook, again, that second resource that I've found so helpful for finding good questions is the future image question. And I love this. Sometimes this is called future pacing. Imagine it's 5 years from today. You've just awakened from a long sleep. And as you look around, you see the organization and what you've always wished and dreamed for. What's happening, what's different, what gives you a sense of pride. There is something that is so powerful when groups of people are driven by shared images of the future, right? When they use their imagination, right? Their image-a-nation, their ability to create a picture, a visceral, physical picture of what the future might hold. And so these are great questions that you can use as well. So our second resource, our first resource, the Changes Cards deck. The second resource is the Xchange Facilitator Playbook. I can get you that at no cost to you. Just write the word playbook in the comments down below, and I will reach out to you and get you a copy of that playbook. The third place that I have really enjoyed going, and I'm not as familiar with them, I've gotten to experience a little bit of their work, but this is an organization called the Presencing Institute. They specialize in a concept called Theory U, which is very closely related to appreciative inquiry, which is what Xchange is based on. But they're all connected. These folks are all friends with one another. In the Presencing Institute's work, one of the tools that they use, one of the resources they use is guided journaling. And I love they have this tool available for free on their website just look up Presencing Institute. And in this guided journaling resource, it's just a simple 3-page PDF, they begin to have some questions that are so powerful for journaling, but I've also found these to be really helpful in paired interview opportunities and other ways to help people connect with one another. So let's take a look at some of these questions. Over the past few days or weeks, what did you notice about yourself, and what is wanting to be born? What in your life is wanting to be born? This has been such a powerful question for so many folks, groups that I've worked with. The second, what about your current work or life frustrates you the most? Right? When we experience frustration, often what we're experiencing is a conflict between expectations and reality, between expectations and outcomes, or there's a conflict of values, right? There's competing values at play, and frustration is often an accompanying feeling or emotion. There's great ones that imagine talking to a future self or talking to a past self. I love these journaling questions. And of course, one of the most obvious ways to use them is to journal. And so I think they have about 20 questions in here. Here's a great one that I do love is over the next 3 months, there's a prototyping question. Over the next 3 months, if you were to prototype a microcosm of the future in which you could discover the new by doing something, what would that prototype look like? When we give people permission to prototype, it's like my son with his 3D printer. We can give them a low-cost way to try something without fear of failure, because we know that it could fail. In fact, it even might be likely that it would fail, and yet it's a low-stakes experiment where people get to try something. And if it works, wow, they get a lot from it. And if it doesn't work, wow, they learn a lot from it. And so, love this question from the Presencing Institute. Hey, these are 3 great questions. If you would like to get your hands on the Xchange Facilitator Playbook, please write the word playbook in the comments below, and I will reach out to you and get that into your hands. I know a lot of folks that would be like an automated system. You put that comment in, it's going to send you a link and sign up for this, that, and the other. I'm not that sophisticated yet. So if you put that comment in, I'm literally going to send you a DM and get that playbook into your hands. Hey, once again, if you're looking to grow and have better meetings, would like to partner on that, I'd love to talk with you more. If you are looking to grow as a facilitator and want information on how some of the ways that I can help guide you toward that, would love to talk more. But the first way you want to do that is to subscribe to the channel. Check out a couple of the other videos we have where we're creating videos that really give you the essentials that you need to facilitate connected and collaborative events. And we call this elevating your event.